Again, welcome back to C++ programming language. This lectures cover the switch statements, how we can use the switch statement to make a decision. The switch statement, normally, if we have more than two conditions, if we have only one condition, we use the if statement one way. If we have two conditions, we use the if else. So the if section will be if the condition is true, the statement that follow will execute. Else section is if the condition is false, then the else section, the statement that follow else will be executed. So this is the syntax for the switch statement. We use the keyword switch, lower cases, then we may have the expression. The expression here should be integer, so it should be a value. Normally in switch statement, we don't use the relational operators. So for example, I may have a variable x equal to 10, and I may check the values. So I may write whatever value we want to use for the cases. So I'll use the variable x, and I'll say when s is 10, when s is 2, we do something. Again, we are going to see examples soon. But the syntax here is that we start with the switch statement. We have an expression. Then we have multiple cases. It can be any amount. And the last section will be the default, which means if all the cases are false, the default will execute. This is the same as using the multiple if-else statement. The last option is else. So if all the conditions are false, the last section will execute. So this is an example of using the if statement. So in this case, we have our main function. We include our header file using namespace std. Again, this switch statement in this program tells the user something he or she already knows. So the data just entered. So here we say enter A, B, or C. We have C in. We enter the value, either A, B, or C. Again, we declare the variable choice as a character. So we can enter a character A, B, or C. Now, this is what we are learning today. So we start with the keyword switch. All the cases are lowercase. And our variable name is choice. So if user enter A, which means the first case is A, the choice is A, then we are going to print a statement that you enter A. Then we are going to break it. Now, if we don't use the break, then it's going to check the next case until the end of the default. So again, we use the break to break from the switch. So next, if B is what is entered, then we are going to get C out and you enter B. If C is entered, then we have an output, you enter C. Now, if the user enter any character, not A, not B, not C, then we have the default section. So here we print out you did not enter A, B, or C. So that's, again, the syntax for writing the switch statement, which is almost the same as multiple if-else. Again, what we're trying to say, the difference will be in switch statement, we normally don't use the relational operator, so there's no in the interval. Here we can say the choice either is A, B, or C. Now, if it's a value, we cannot say greater than 90, less than 100, but we can say, okay, choice is 90 or is 80, and that will be the cases, case 90, case 80, etc. So here we say the expression must be an integer variable, as we said earlier, or an expression that evaluates to an integer variable. That's after the switch. Let's go back. So after the switch keyword, the variable choice must be an integer or can be a character. The goal here is that it have to be a whole number or a character. Then we say the expression 1 through expression n must be a constant integer expression or literals and must be unique in the switch statement. Then the default is an optional, but it's recommended because if all the cases are, again, false, we want something to come out. So the default section will always execute. So normally, again, the expression is evaluated and the value of expression is compared against expression 1 through expression n. That's all the cases. Now, if expression matches the value, then that program branch to that statement following the expression and then execute. And this will continue to the end of the switch. Now, if no matches, then as we said earlier, the default section will execute. So we normally use the exit, to exit a switch statement. We normally use the break. So we see that after each case, we have the break statements, which means if the condition is true, we exit the. Now, if sometimes we may have an option where we have more than one case. So for example, we may say case 90, case 95, we're going to print A. So this means again, case 90 and 95, or A, B, C, then we print A. So in this case, we can use again more than one case. So this is another example. So this program is carefully constructed to use the for true features of the switch statements. So here we have normal include IO stream using namespace std. Our main function, we declare variable model num. Now we tell the user to get the model number for us. So get a model number from the user. See out, our TV comes in 3 models, 100, 200, and 300. Which do you want? So user may enter the model number. Then we are going to check if the model has the following features. So we have switch model number. If the user entered 300, then we are going to say picture in a picture. Then you can see what we are doing here. We check case 200, the stereo sound. If the case is 100, we have remote control. Then we break. Now, if the user didn't enter any of these 100, 200, or 300, then the last option, which is default, will always execute, which will say you can only choose 100, 200, or 300. So let's assume here the user enter 100. So 100, we are going to have the model has the following features. Again, a remote control, because case 100, remote control. Case 300, picture in a picture. Case 200, stereo sound. So again, the break and the default statements are always used in the switch. The break again is to come out of the switch statement, and default also is the last option if all the cases are false, then the default will execute. So here we say our TV comes in 3 models again. User enter 200 this time. Then we can see the 200. It print what? Stereo sound, but also print remote control. Why? Because there's no break. So which means if the model is 300, if the model number is 300, it means the TV have a picture in a picture, and also it has a stereo sound, and also you have a remote control. If it's 200, they have stereo sound and remote control. So for example, here the user entered 300. It print the picture in picture, stereo sound, and remote control. Again, the main reason, because we don't have that break. The break comes after the 100. So switch statement is again natural choice for menu-driven programs also. For example, if we want to display menu, then get the user's menu selection, which is almost the previous program we saw. Yeah, user went 100, 200, or 300, then we tell the user the TV features. So switch statement initialization was introduced in C++ 17. In this case, the switch statement can have an optional initialization clause that is executed before conditional integer expression is evaluated. So this is the general format. We have a switch. This time we are going to have initialization, then the integer expression. Then we may have the case, the constant expression, case 1, case 2, etc. Then we still have the default. So this is an example here. We have a switch statement. This time we declare variable named value, and we initialize it to absolute number. And then we have an expression, the variable value. So here we say case 1, If the value is 1, then we print 1, we break. If the value is 2, we print 2, we break it. Other than that, we have invalid value. So the values here should be only 1 and 2, positive 1 and 2. That's why we are using the absolute function also. Now, the scope of a variable is the block in which it is defined. So normally, most programming language, we have the local scope and global scope. Local scope will normally be a variable that is defined in a specific function, and only that function can see and also use the variable. Global variable will be defined outside all the functions, which means any function we have, including the main function, can have access to it. So for example, here we have an if condition. If income is greater than or equal to mean income, then we get a number of years at the current job. So we are going to print how many years have you worked at your current job. We declare variable, yes, so we can see this variable is declared in the if condition. So this is a local variable. Then we tell the user to enter the value to the variable years. Now, if years is greater than mean years, then we say you qualify. Otherwise, you must have been employed for more than whatever the mean years is. But what we're trying to say is that sometimes we can use the variable, like in this case, in a condition or in a specific function, and only that function can see the variable. And that's what we call the local variable. So variable defined inside the braces, or it can be inside a function, have a local or block scope. When inside a block within another block, then can define variables with the same name as in your outer block. Why? Because they cannot see each other. Now, we cannot declare two variables with the same name in the main function because they will see each other. But here we are talking about the block and also another inner block. So it's possible. So when an inner block, outer definition is not a variable, and also it's not a good idea mostly. So when inside a block within another block and define variable the same name as in the outer block. But the syntax is okay, but sometimes can be confusing or the readability may not be too clear. So it's not a good idea. So this is an example. We have a main function. We declare variable name number. We ask the user to enter the number. We check if the number is greater than 0. But what we did now, we declare another variable name number. Yeah, this will work. But we can see this variable doesn't see the outside variable. It's inside a block. So it's a local variable within this block. So here we tell the user to enter another number. The second number you enter it will be printed. Now, outside the if condition, if we want to print the number, it will print the number we print outside. So the cout inside the if condition is only for the inside the condition for the if. Now, outside the if condition now, the outer number will be printed. So here, for example, you can see we enter 2 for the outer number. Then we enter 7 for the inner number. Now we can see that the first cout which will print 7 because that is the inner number, the variable in the if condition. Then the last cout will be printing outside, so it will print 2. So that's the concept of local variable concept. So again, wish everybody the best and see you in the next lectures. Thank you.